Have you ever just stopped and wondered what you're really made of? I mean, at the most fundamental level. Well, today, we're going to go on a journey. We're diving deep inside the human body, and we're using the rules of chemistry to uncover the incredible molecular story of you. So let's start with that big question right there. What are you really made of? If you could just zoom in, way past your skin and bones, past the cells themselves, what would you actually find? The answer, it turns out, is both way simpler and so much more complex than you could ever imagine. What you'd find is a whole universe just teeming with billions and billions of these incredible molecular machines. These are proteins, and they are the tireless workhorses of your body. Seriously, they're doing everything from digesting your lunch to carrying oxygen through your blood. And they do it all with this breathtaking precision. But how? How does your body know how to build all these amazing little machines? Well, the instructions, they're written down in life's master blueprint, our DNA. But here's the thing, a blueprint is totally useless without the right building materials. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack the chemical toolkit that life uses to turn simple instructions into these magnificent functional structures. Let's dive in. It all starts with a surprisingly small set of chemical building blocks. See, instead of inventing countless unique parts for every little job, life is incredibly efficient. It just reuses a versatile and fundamental toolkit of what we call functional groups to build almost everything. All right, first up in our toolkit is the amino group. Now, you can think of this one as having a basic personality, and in chemistry terms, that just means it likes to accept protons. This little trait becomes super important when it's time to link up with other parts. And hey, for every base, there's usually an acid, right? So meet the carboxyl group. It is the perfect counterpart to the amino group. And yeah, it's got an acidic personality. It's more than happy to donate a proton. These two right here, they're the foundational players in our whole story. And our third key player is the hydroxyl group. Its superpower? Forming hydrogen bonds. You can think of these bonds as a kind of molecular Velcro. And that Velcro is absolutely essential for giving our final structures their unique functional shapes. So, now that we've met the core components in our toolkit, let's see how chemistry actually uses them. It's time to create the first real bricks, these slightly larger, more specialized molecules that we call monomers. So what exactly is a monomer? Honestly, the best analogy is a single Lego brick. It's just a simple, standard little unit. On its own, it's not much of anything, but it's perfectly designed to connect with other bricks to build something much, much bigger. And in the story of you, the most important Lego bricks, the most absolutely crucial monomers, are the alpha amino acids. Little bit of trivia for you. They get that name because they're all built around one central carbon atom, which chemists call the alpha carbon. And the design here, it's just incredibly elegant. All 20 of life's essential amino acids share the exact same backbone, which is built from those amino and carboxyl groups we just met. The real magic, the thing that makes each one unique, is this variable part called a side chain. And as you can see from these examples, that side chain can be as simple as a single hydrogen atom, or it can be a way more complex structure. That's it. That's where all the variety comes from. Okay, so we have our bricks. Now it is time to start building. And this happens through a process called polymerization, which is just a fancy word for linking these individual units together one by one to form these massive chains. This is the central rule. It's a universal principle of biology. Every single protein in your body, it doesn't matter what its job is simply a polymer. It's just a long chain built from those alpha amino acid monomers. That's it. So how exactly are they linked together? With this, the peptide bond. This is the chemical glue. It's this super strong link that forms between the carboxyl group of one amino acid and the amino group of the very next one in line. And the process itself is just beautifully simple. First, two amino acids, they just line up next to each other. Then, the carboxyl end of one reacts with the amino end of the other. A little molecule of water gets kicked out and, snap, a strong peptide bond is formed, creating what's called a dipeptide. You just keep doing that, linking brick after brick after brick, and you start to build the very substance of life itself. So at what point does a simple chain officially become a protein? Well, the general rule of thumb is when that chain grows to include more than about 100 amino acids. At that point, the molecule has enough size and complexity to really take on a life of its own. And this brings us to what might be the most amazing part of our story, the architecture of life. Because a protein isn't just some long, floppy chain. Oh no. It is a masterpiece of molecular origami, where that chain folds into a precise, functional, three-dimensional shape. And this visual brilliantly illustrates the entire process. You see how we start with that simple sequence of amino acids, and then it twists and it coils, it folds back on itself, and in many cases, it assembles with other folded chains to create the final functional machine. Okay, so this folding happens in four distinct stages. It all starts with the primary structure, that's just the unique sequence of amino acids, the specific order of the bricks. Next, in the secondary structure, that chain starts to twist into local shapes, like a spiral called an alpha helix. Then the entire thing folds up into its final, complex 3D shape. That's the tertiary structure. And for some proteins, there's one last step, the quaternary structure, where multiple folded chains actually team up to form a larger machine. And here is the most crucial point of this whole thing. For a protein, shape is everything. Its specific, intricate three-dimensional structure is what allows it to do its job. If you change that shape, you destroy the function. It's that simple. This precise folding leads to two major classes of proteins. You've got your fibrous proteins, which are like ropes and threads. Think of the keratin that makes up your hair. They are built for structure. And then you have the globular proteins. These are compact, kind of balled-up shapes. These are the workers, the enzymes, the hormones that carry out all the chemical tasks in the body. Form truly follows function. And their importance, you really can't overstate it. In fact, the name protein itself comes from the Greek word proteos, which literally means primary or of prime importance. So even without understanding any of the chemistry, people knew instinctively that these molecules were the absolute key to life. So let's bring it all home. We started with just a few simple functional groups from a basic chemical toolkit. From there, chemistry assembles 20 unique amino acid bricks, links them together into these vast chains, and then folds those chains into magnificent architecture. And from that simple, elegant process, it builds the entire complex living machinery of you. It is an absolutely incredible thought, isn't it? The same fundamental rules of chemistry that build stars and shape rocks are also used to build something as complex and beautiful as life itself. It really leaves you with a final question to ponder. If these simple rules can do all that, what else are they capable of building?